one sage on top of another.
I listen. Toxic fam. I have to see it.
Hello,
Toxic
my
femininity. What's up with girl bloggers, feminine, female manipulators, and fem cells? I have to see this,
beautiful
guys.
devs.
I have to see. I don't know what this is. This part of my intro. Hold on.
My name is Mina. Welcome or welcome back. And today we have a lot to discuss. I'm mainly going to be talking about teenage girlhood, internet aesthetic trends, and what I call toxic femininity. And if you're a little lost, don't worry,
Yes,
it's
Mina,
all
I'm
going
a
to make
little
sense
lost.
by
What's
the end of
going
this
on?
video. But I do want to start off by talking about this one article that went
I want to make
a little
sure
viral. It was
feminists
published
are not toxic,
on
you know?
ID
What's going
magazine.
on?
It came out in June, and the article is written by Roisin Langan. I'm gonna read this very spicy excerpt. Hey, do you like listening to Lana Del Rey? What about Fiona Apple, Mitski, Hole, Melanie Martinez, Marina? Can you recite the cool girl speech from Gone Girl verbatim? Do you love that one Jacques Louis David piece, Portrait of a Woman in White? Not because you care about art, but because you like the broken female protagonist of Atessa Moshfegh's literature. Do you have a favorite Lisbon sister? And is it Lux? Are you still mourning the loss of Tumblr? Do you like to read Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita? Do you enjoy Catholic iconography? Press to describe yourself or to have others describe you. Would you be comfortable with adjectives like toxic or manipulative? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then congratulations. You might be a femcel. So this article got a lot of heat on TikTok and Twitter mostly for a lot of reasons.
Girls
Me
like to be
personally,
called out.
when
You
I
already
read this
know.
article, the
Can't be called out. Women can't be called
first thing that came up into my head was, is this not just Tumblr sad girl 2014 culture repackaged? I mean, Gone Girl came out in like 2012, and I still remember people making GIFs and graphics using that monologue that she says.
Cool girl is hot. Cool girl is gay. Cool girl is fun. Cool girl never gets angry at her man.
Lana Del Rey and Marina and the Diamonds were like the poster girls of the Tumblr sad girl era. And we didn't have My Year of Rest and Relaxation, but the vibes were the same. So none of this was like seriously shocking to me to read about. Other people read this and were understandably upset by the categorization of femcel and the implication that listening to Fiona Apple would bring you anywhere close to that identifier. And for anyone who doesn't know, the term femcel is short for female involuntary celibate, aka women who cannot get laid not by choice. And then there are just people who are upset about being categorized at all for having particular interests. Like, just because you read this one book and you like it, or just because you like this one female artist, why do you have to be put and shoved into this aesthetic category? This TikToker posted a video complaining about it with the caption, "I'll never forgive you all for what you've done to Fiona Apple. She's not a femcel, that is literally not a thing. And she's not a part of this stupid niche, girl interrupted, Red Scare, coquette, Lana Del Rey, Diet Coke, Kate Moss shit. Leave her alone. Stop grouping female artists into a box they never agreed to be in. She would hate those people, and I know it." So I understand these criticisms and complaints, but as someone who's like perpetually online, and I mean that in the most derogatory way possible, I understand what Lanigan was getting on about, because
I can't lie.
yes, there is this growing sub community on the internet, mostly on TikTok and Tumblr and Twitter, who are using femcel as this aesthetic designator, who've become somewhat obsessed with categorizing themselves based on specific niche interests. It reminds me of this Substack essay.
You know? I don't. Oh my. Why did you try?
That my friend Rain Fisher Kwan wrote a few months ago. She writes, "It's become very common for women online to express their identities through an artfully curated
I'm
list
just genuinely asking a question. I'm not trying to make fun of her. I'm genuinely asking a question. I know these niggas on here be like, "Oh my god, he don't like that." No, no, no.
things they consume consume or aspire to consume, and because young women are conditioned to believe that their identities are defined almost entirely by their neuroses, these roundups of cultural trends and authors du jour often implicitly serve to chicly signal one's mental illnesses to the public. One girl on your TikTok feed might be a self-described Joan Didion Eve Babbitt's Marlboro Red straight cut Levi's Fleabag girl. This means she has depression. Another will call herself a baby doll dress, Sylvia Plath, Red Scare Mew Mew, Lana Del Rey girl. Eating disorder. Or a green juice, claw clip, Emma Chamberlain, yoga mat, podcast girl. Different eating disorder. The aesthetics of consumption have, in turn, become a conduit to make the
No, bro, you're forgetting the ADHD or like, you know what I mean? Oh, I can't, you know, everyone has ADHD. Oh, I'm a deficit. I'm slow, I can't focus on one thing. I'm ADHD. That's where we're on now.
self more easily consumable. Your existence as a type of girl has almost nothing to do with whether you actually read Joan
No
Didion or wear Mew
validation.
Mew.
Like, I know I make fun of that niggas for doing that, but it's like you're giving, you're making niggas who actually have that shit lose validation, bro. Like, y'all say you gotta accept everything. You're making things that actually have labels, actually have meaning, lose its fucking meaning off of stupidity. I mean, we can keep going down this way. I mean, like it. I mean, unless we get saved, but we're not.
And everything to do with whether you want to be seen as the type of person who would. So we're going to be talking about all this in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsor. On Squarespace, you have lots of space to we got to start with the roots, which are unfortunately incels. The word incel, by the way, stands for involuntary celibate, aka
accountability.
Someone who cannot get laid, not by choice. So, in 1997, a Canadian woman who goes by Alana and nothing else, she has kept her identity mostly anonymous. She had started dating and was having trouble with relationships, so she started this website called Alana's Involuntary Celibate Project for anyone else who was also struggling with the romance department. It was a simple website where she posted articles, ran a mailing list, and then evolved into a forum where people would talk about being lonely. Alana says there was probably a bit of anger and some men were a bit clueless about how women are unique individual humans, but in general it was a supportive place. The word incel used to mean anybody of any gender who was lonely, had never had sex, or who hadn't had a relationship in a long time. Fast forward to 2014, a 22-year-old man named Elliot Roger went on a shooting and stabbing spree in Isla Vista, California, killing 6 people and injuring 14 before offing himself. It was revealed that before his death, he had distributed a 141-page document about his hatred towards women that was caused by his intense frustration of being a virgin. And then in 2018, 25-year-old Alec Minassian drove his van into a crowded sidewalk in Toronto, killing 10 people and injuring 16. After the attack, he told investigators that he was an incel and that his actions were a revenge plot over him not being able to get laid. The incel community has thus developed in the worst way possible.
Work all these people. It's sad, bro. I'm not saying give away. God damn, that's like niggas ain't getting no play. Nigga, work on yourself, bro. You're gonna kill people because you didn't work on yourself?
From being a fringe internet group to a recognized terrorist threat. So I compare them to femcells. The only real shared thing is their belief that they cannot have sex or cannot get into romantic relationships because of their looks or personality. And even though a lot of people feel this type of way, at least during one point in their lives, femcells believe there's something significantly wrong with them that makes them different from other women. According to the now defunct Reddit thread, True Femcells, to be a femcell, you have to have defects that must exceed those of normal women and exist in a much more...
Like you're super duper big, like fat as hell? Like you're big as hell?
Severe form. As Mel Magazine puts it, femcells were dealt a shitty hand, the sentiment goes, and the only way out of the lonely hellscapes they live in is to ascend. Femcells speak for get hotter.
So femcells are red pill. Okay. Get better, get sexier, work on yourself. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's digest this. What's going on? What the hell is going
Since
on?
the Reddit thread has been banned, it's difficult to mine it for
Oh, they
content
don't.
unless you
Damn, they don't even want women to get better. What the fuck? That's a sad life, man. Yo, they want everyone to just be themselves and not, you know what I mean? Remember, they took away tribes and everything. With you, hey, Europe came over here. Europeans came over, made sure they take. Hey, so y'all keep.
know how to use like internet archive tools. But from articles that I've read, it sounds like, unlike incel forums, femcells are non-violent for the most part. Like there might be some fringe person who's like, you know, writing something truly disturbing, but for the most part, most of the content was focused on the women's unhappiness with themselves. And unfortunately, this Reddit is actually how most women tend to feel when navigating romantic spheres. Tracy Moore did an investigation on nice girls and found that most women who blame their lack of sex or relationships on their appearance actually feel embarrassed or sorry for inconveniencing the people that they find attractive. That's not to say that there are absolutely no problems in the femcel community, though. Lorelei Alverson researched femcel forums and found that despite several members identifying as people of color, the vast majority of users across femcel forums are white and leverage this whiteness in disputes. There are also a lot of transphobic femcels who express anger towards trans women who are able to get facial feminization surgery covered by their health insurance. And I think even like people who are not outwardly transphobic, the lingo that's used among like femcels,
I don't know what.
like femcel speak, and the assumptions that they have about women tend to fall into this like gender essentialist, like
So if incel and femcel are just gender, was the same thing, it wasn't. Why are we separating it? Why are we separating it now? Why you gotta be a femcel? Just being a, if you're a female not even into sex, it's incel, bro. It's not. It's not. We didn't even put mencel. Did we put that, or we just put incel? Yo, what's going on?
there are only two genders.
Is everything's
mindset, which ends up becoming a breeding ground for transphobic trains of thought. So what I just described to you all is what I consider to be traditional femcells. Traditional in the sense that in the past couple years or so, there's been a different community of women who identify themselves as femcells, but are so far removed from all the lore that I just talked about. And these femcells, which I'll call modern femcells to be less confusing, is what that ID article was talking about. The article even clarifies the social media femcells of today use the term less as an indicator of how much sex they're unable to have, and more as a way to express their personality traits that are perceived as
women don't need to be having sex all the fucking time. That's just something that, yo, women don't need to be having sex. Y'all have kids. Do they make female condoms? Yes or no? Women don't need to be having sex all the fucking time. It needs to be managed. You don't have to tell if the sex life is good. Yes, it's important, but you could do regular shit right before. Oh.
pathetic or manipulative or toxic in some way. They
Right
do
before
so
you do anything, before you let him get, before you let that happen. Okay, so
unapologetically romanticizing these stereotypical femcel traits in the process. Modern femcells mostly exist on like Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, and they make sad aesthetic Spotify playlists titled Female Manipulator Anthems and Songs for Your Fleabag Era. By the way, I've like referenced Fleabag eras in previous videos, but not yet in this video. And basically, Fleabag is a TV show that centers around this pretty problematic female protagonist, and the term Fleabag era refers to anyone who is essentially embracing chaos and mess to deal with trauma rather than seeking help.
Era. Ugh. Hustling. Right? Complete your life from the inside out. Having the power to prevent it. But choosing to go along with it instead. Listen. It's not being a manic pixie dream girl. It's a female hysteria diagnosis. Okay, so listen. Stupid, are you dumb? Are
Flanagan
you
writes,
dumb?
new femcells have flourished on popular social media platforms where it can be communicated not through tortured posts about being overlooked by men and self-hatred, but rather through a post-ironic, self-conscious embrace of aesthetic feminine toxicity. It's not femcell for these women, it's femcell core. For example, one 19-year-old Tumblr user named Hannah, who regularly uses the hashtag femcell, said, I just thought the word was funny and maybe even a little shocking. I knew it would get people's attention. Most of my posts
got my attention. I got my attention because I know what the fuck that was.
I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 2 years. Similarly, a 22-year-old TikToker named Alexandra.
Understand, listen. I feel pretty crying in front of the mirror for being delusional. Make life interesting. Taking a bath to feel.
Carmona admitted her female manipulator content is ironic. She told Insider that it's not about promoting actual manipulation, it's about calling ourselves out and coping with our own issues by making a joke out of it. So aesthetically, I've noticed a lot of overlap and a lot of line blurring between these femcells, these modern femcells, the coquette girls, and ballet core. I've done a whole video on ballet core, but for coquette girls who
Yo, go out with I know your eyebrows, you know what I mean? We'll do something about that, but I'll, you know, oh, I think you should name Lana May. Was that what it was? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Oh, Mina Lee. I feel like we would have a good time, you know what I mean? Me and you going out and shit like that. I don't know my horoscope. I know my Sag. You might be giving me Cancer vibes. So we'll see what's up.
Partake in it flock to frilly slip dresses, hair ribbons, thigh-high socks, Mary Janes, tight-fitting tank tops, cropped cardigans, cheeky slogans on baby tees, and overall pastel colors and lace trimmings. Popular aesthetic icons shared by all three subgroups include Lana Del Rey, particularly at the beginning of her career, Nina Sayers from Black Swan, Angelina Jolie's character in Girl Interrupted, Jennifer from Jennifer's Body, Gone Girl, and of course models and actresses that have heroin chic or waif-like body types, including Lily Rose Depp, young Kate Moss, Bella Hadid, and Mia Goth. A lot of these girls also refer to themselves as girl bloggers, aka girly girls who blog about being a girl's girl, who have usernames like Dior Waif or Cocaine Bambi, who post grainy gifs of blonde 90s models, Miu Miu ballet flats, young Natalie Portman, Lana Del Rey lyrics, Patrick Bateman, and memes that hint at or explicitly state mental illness. There's a lot of romanticization about being pretty and mentally unstable, but that being okay because you're still pretty. And terminology like pilled, maxing, being in your whatever era, and esoteric get tossed around. There's also a very unique turn of phrasing that these girls use. Biz Sherbert describes it in their article on girl blogging.
Stay like that. Niggas don't let niggas stay
in a black swan.
Don't let them stay comfortable if they looking crazy. My nigga Chris did not let me stay comfortable when I knew something was up, bro. This girl, that's what I'm saying. Told me some bullshit. Crispy told me what's up, and I was like, okay, I already know. I kind of already knew what I was feeling, but you need real shit. No, like to just lie to each other. Don't make no sense, bro. You're not gonna get better. Oh my.
Virgin Suicides, Nepotism Baby, Cool Girl Monologue, Sylvia Plath, Brittany Murphy, Fatal Attraction kind of way. A girl blogger's frequent lines of text rub together into an inner monologue that looms over all her posts. This diary voice, psychologically charged and often bitchy like the writing on a bathroom stall, is what separates the girl blogger from an impersonal mood boarder with a similar taste for girly things.
You can't keep getting away with it!
So, just to recap on what was happening on Tumblr around 2012 to 2015, a popular subculture on Tumblr revolved heavily around Lana Del Rey gifs and lyrics, black and white photos with sad captions overlaid on them, and cigarette, self-harm, and drug motifs. And who can forget the hashtag pretty when you cry selfies? This was all part of a movement now known as like the sad girl era. Rosemary Curtin defined a sad girl for ID as one who listens to better music than you and might spend her alone time watching French films from the 60s or angsty TV shows from the 90s. But even before the 2010s, the sad girl was not a new phenomenon. Like, think of Romeo and Juliet, think of Ophelia from Hamlet, think of Jane Eyre. And yes, there were always shared aesthetics and films and songs that sad girls leaned onto, as Rain puts it, to chicly signal one's mental illness. But I will say it wasn't as self-aware or self-commodifying as the girl bloggers are today. Sad girls mostly posted stream of conscious thoughts into the void on Tumblr, and our collective interest in Arctic Monkeys and Marina and the Diamonds music felt more like coincidence than a calculated attempt to aestheticize our own identities. At this time, journalists were releasing think pieces about how the sad girl aesthetic movement romanticized clinical depression and eating disorders, which I definitely agree that it was. I don't think it was intentional. Like, I don't think any movie director or any songwriter was explicitly trying to delegitimize mental illness with their music, but that's just what happened. And it definitely didn't help that being sad was considered cool. And so a lot of teenage girls who probably weren't actually battling with serious mental illnesses kind of induced traits of those mental illnesses within themselves as an attempt to fit in. The sad girl movement wasn't just pervasive on Tumblr, though. There were brands that were selling pins, tote bags, and necklaces with phrases like Sad Girl Club and other slogans on them. Hannah May wrote for Hello Giggles, even more disturbing than teens using depression to be cool is the possibility of companies marketing depression to those teens to make a quick buck. Granted, I think one of the main issues these days is how out of hand consumerism has gotten. And consumerism is unfortunately a byproduct of making everything into different aesthetics. I asked what people thought about this topic on my Instagram stories a couple days ago, and one person said, I feel like now more than ever, these aesthetics are so intertwined with consumerism/trend cycles. Similarly, another person said, we can let women be angry without attaching an aesthetic/a title to it. And yet another person said, I think it's really fun to be in a community with lots of other girls who like the same things as me, but it can also be really exclusionary and breed a pick-me-esque mindset if you aren't as indie/enjoy too many mainstream things or even dress somewhat basic.
Yeah,
I think
you
these are
can't just
all
be open to things. You're basic, you know what I'm saying? If you're not too in there, you're just too basic and they'll judge you. It's not really about, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure you're fully in your group. You can't really be just, oh, I'm just still this. I don't really know. I'm not too sure. You can't really have a mind of your own to think of things anymore. You kind of just have to know. Okay, so if you know, you know what I'm saying, what you are, then get on the internet. But if you don't, stay off. You're gonna just be by other people bothering you. All this say blase blase. Oh, you listen to this person, oh that person. Get your own set first, or because they don't think television and all that thing, all shit like that, that can be none of those things. So since they don't think that, right? Don't you know what I mean? Don't get on YouTube. Don't get on YouTube and have your own thoughts or beliefs, right? Or watch your own people that you believe are artists and content creators who believe in what they want to do and don't just want money. Okay, they're working, okay, on bettering themselves and want to better the community. Okay, watch real people. Looks like Mina might be one of those people. We'll see. Like she's attacking because attack as, but it kind of looks like she's. You know what I'm saying, she's understanding both sides, which is very cool and shit like that. I don't want to understand both sides because I need content. Fuck that.
very valid points. I also think that they are points that were valid back in the 2010s. If anyone remembers like the whole hipster trend.
Just so you know, a macchiato is a shot of espresso with a little foam on top. It's not a giant latte slathered in whipped cream with caramel squeezed all over it.
Hey, what band is this?
You've never heard of it.
To really qualify as a hipster, it wasn't enough to just like the same things as everyone else or have the same kind of ideology. Like, you had to get the square glasses, you had to wear the infinity scarves, you had to have some mustache motifs somewhere on your body, or else your friends were probably like, are you really a hipster? And God forbid if you want to listen to Justin Bieber every once in a while. The difference between then and now is obviously like social media, because rather than just having to gain approval from your local group of friends, the internet is so global, and now there's so many people who belong to this community who you are connected with, and who you are constantly seeking approval from. Not to mention the endless content-focused mood boards that give you new consumerist ideas of how to gain people's approval. But the biggest problem I have with commodifying sadness, even back in like the 2010s, is that it made wallowing in sadness cool and getting help uncool. Similarly, in the femcel...
Getting help. I need to go to therapy. I don't know. But you know, if you feel like you gotta do that, then you know, get some help. I'm not denying it away. You gotta do the help. But this don't listen to that.
Girl blogger subculture by making female hysteria and mental illness aesthetic, it discourages young women from wanting to get help. 22-year-old TikToker Jules Johnson told Insider that she finds the trend nihilistic and hollow. She said, in the female manipulator space, there's a lot of focus on getting back at men when you could direct that energy towards loving other women. But anyways, I think the Tumblr girl ideology redux was kind of inevitable, considering the style itself is getting a renewed appreciation, with the tag #2014Tumblr having over 215 million views on TikTok. Femcelcore also champions the thin body type, which is being echoed in the mainstream, with low-rise pants and skirts coming back in full force, and even Kim Kardashian slimming down her booty in the past several months.
I think some of you guys are forgetting what Kim K used to look like. Look at the
she had the yomper. She got the yomper, right? She used to have a yomper.
The mass.
Right, and then
this is about 40 pounds of ass gone.
Kids don't do that. Kids don't do that to you. Plastic surgery, though.
Because of how influential the Kardashians are, and because they were kind of the ones to popularize BBLs in the past 10 years to begin.
Everyone wants to be Kim, dog, bro. Be yourself, bro. Please, bro. Please, nigga. We just want to be all of us working. Don't work. We don't like entertaining, guys, but we understand the difference of that meaning. You understand the difference?
With a lot of people feel like them shrinking their asses is a sign that the BBL era is over. BBL, by the way, stands for Brazilian butt lift, which is a very dangerous procedure that shifts the fat in your stomach into your booty to give you a more curvaceous figure. Even without the Kardashians' involvement, it might just be the natural course of body type trends that's dictating this shift in silhouette, because
but I kind of feel like they played a it's a natural thing. Like, yeah, you can say that, but feels were a thing before. Getting. Tell me I'm wrong.
We all know, very unfortunately, throughout the course of history, women's silhouettes have been trends. It's dipped from curvy to skinny to curvy to skinny, and we've just been curvy in the last 10 years, and I guess It's time to go back to skinny. Obviously, I think BBLs and kind of escaping that phase is a good thing because BBLs are incredibly dangerous. Like, you can literally die on the operating table for getting one. But I don't think going the other end of the spectrum is better because I grew up in the 90s and 2000s. Like, everyone had an eating disorder because of how skinny everyone in the media was.
Do you know what really just kills me about this whole thing? Is the clothes that you're gonna get. I mean, you don't deserve them. You eat carbs, for Christ's sake.
Even though I think it's somewhat natural for girls to feel like very angsty or to feel a certain way about their place in society, I also think that there have been movements and trends that have occurred in the past 5 years or so that has also contributed to the rise of femcel core. For example, during the first 2 years of the pandemic, there was a major societal trend towards self-improvement. A lot of people felt pressure to utilize their time in isolation productively, either by reading as many books as possible, listening to as many podcasts as possible, watching as many movies as possible, learning new skills, getting.
Oh, I don't know if watching. All the other things you're mentioning, yeah. All those other things, yeah, those are things.
Fit, dieting, you name it. The desire for self-improvement gave rise to the that girl trend, which was a major trend on TikTok and Instagram and revolved around girls who essentially had their lives together, or at least looked like they had their lives together. These girls would film themselves waking up at 5 a.m., going on runs, doing Pilates in the morning, drinking green smoothies, wearing like beige athleisure sets, and meditating and journaling, gratitude journaling regularly, just doing everything that we feel we are supposed to do for our mental and physical health, all while looking absolutely amazing. While some people were inspired by the whole that girl trend to get their life together, a lot of people also felt very uninspired because they felt like the trend was inaccessible for people who were not white, skinny, or at least upper middle class. Laura Pitcher wrote an article on that girl
It's
for
all
ID last year.
excuses, bro. It's for you to improve yourself, bro. You're not gonna be in that shit in the beginning, bro. But to improve yourself to get into that position, holy fuck.
Noting that it was a rebranding of girl boss culture. Similar to other fitness videos on social media, being that girl means encompassing a life based on mainstream notions of wellness. However, there's bizarrely no end goal, no marathon you train up to, no reason to wake up at 5 a.m. other than that it seems more efficient. And this is just like a general thing with our society.